In this video, I'll be talking about and summarizing an article titled Restorative Justice and Higher Education, the Interactive Classroom. This article comes out of an issue of the magazine Corrections Today, which was released in May of 2015. This article was written by Linda Keena, who at the time was an associate professor and the interim graduate program coordinator for the University of Mississippi's Department of Legal Studies, as well as a former probation and parole officer for the state of Missouri. In this article, she discusses how Missouri's Department of Corrections addresses inmate education and restoring them into being productive members of society at one of their prisons, the Southeast Missouri Correctional Center. Not only do they have a program and organization whose main focus is to rehab and educate inmates, called the Restorative Justice Organization, they also have open classes with members of a college whom they have joint classes with to further educate everyone involved. The purpose of her article is to explain and describe the importance and benefits of inmate educational programs. The Missouri Department of Corrections says that their department's mission is to enhance public safety through efficient supervision and effective rehabilitation services of adult offenders. With 97% of the incarcerated population eventually being returned to the community, it is imperative that these programs are successful. Not only do these programs help the general public and the inmate after they are released by educating them, hopefully correcting some of the violent or criminal behaviors, and better preparing them for their future, but it also helps while they are incarcerated. With this type of program in place, it is proven to reduce conduct violations, property damage, and inmate-on-inmate assaults. It also teaches offenders about compassion and the meaning of altruistic behavior. In the 1970s, basic adult education and general education development programs were utilized very widely by incarcerated individuals. This was made possible by use of federally funded programs such as the Pell Grant system. This changed in 1994 when the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act was signed into law, which prohibited incarcerated individuals from receiving a Pell Grant. After this happened, many private organizations and state or local organizations started funding these type of programs. In 2012, the Southeast Missouri Correctional Center's warden allowed a professor to begin teaching at the prison that was from a center of higher education, and also start bringing that professor's students from the college to the prison. They were allowed to participate in classes with a group of approximately 20 incarcerated students. This group was known as the Restorative Justice Organization, or RGO as they called it for short. RJO. This not only boosted the prisoners' confidence, but also made them feel more important and gave the college students a different insight and a completely different opinion of the prisoners altogether, seeing them more as people who wanted to be rehabilitated and learn, rather than just someone who's incarcerated. The main idea of this article is very important. If all we are doing with our correction system is housing inmates for a given amount of time and then releasing them back into society, I feel we are failing. I think the most important goal overall when someone is incarcerated is to improve their life or all of the community in some sort of way. Some people will argue that simply by incarcerating them, keeping them locked up, out of society, getting them off the streets, that we're making the community safer. I feel, however, this isn't enough. I think we must educate, rehabilitate, and or treat every inmate in some sort of way. If we don't put in the effort and at least try and attempt to provide them with the tools and knowledge to succeed, then I don't see how we can expect them to succeed once they're released. I feel like this article relates to the juvenile delinquency side of criminal justice in the same way it does to adults. Educating and rehabilitating juveniles is as, if not more important than adults. Juveniles are typically more impressionable and quicker learners than adults are, especially adults that are middle-aged or older. Also, juveniles may be just starting their criminal activity rather than adults that have been doing it for years. This may give juveniles the view of having more of their life ahead of them rather than the adult view of it being too late to change. If we catch juveniles at the right time, they are much easier rehabilitated and also much more goal-driven than adults. A lot of time, adults, by the time they get this age, they don't feel like they have any goals. Uh, they feel like it's too late to change, to where juveniles are usually, they have much higher dreams and prefer to be and strive to be more important members of society. I feel like there are several strengths and weaknesses in this article. Some strengths would be that instead of just presenting a general idea, the article gives a very specific example and explains how the program works in a very detailed manner, even giving several different aspects of the program, all the way from funding options to ways to involve the public, and it even gives positive results. By giving facts and data of how successful a program is, it gives the reader more initiative to finish and really be interested in the article. A weakness that I see is that there is no personal specific results following program completion and release into society. I feel it would be very beneficial and interesting to give an example of someone who completed the program, was released, and became a productive and successful member of society. I feel this article was very well written and organized. It seems as if the writer researched the information very thoroughly before writing this article. It was also very easy to understand, and it was written using very common language and facts. It's very easy to interpret. I feel like the main intended audience is correctional facility administrators. However, this article is interesting and pertains to anyone involved in the criminal justice system, especially those studying corrections or maybe correctional administration personnel that's attempting to improve their facility. The article is supported by evidence by stating the benefits of the programs before and after release. I think maybe the only thing the author may have forgotten, like I said in the weaknesses, would be to include some personal success stories. I feel like if they did this, it would definitely improve the article and maybe make it way more interesting and have more people wanting to start this type of program.